Hello, everybody. This is Monica Paulini, and welcome to the Inclusively podcast. I am your host with Chris Lewis, and today our guest is Giovanni Severini from Microsoft. So
Hello,
let's
everyone.
get directly into it. Giovanni, tell us who you are and what you do at Microsoft.
Well, who you are, I'm still searching for this, but I can say I am a principal group program manager at Microsoft, which is a very pompous, very big type of title. But in a few words, I work with a team of 30, 31 product and program managers. So we are product managers, we evolve a product. What is the product I work on is mainly Windows, even though I do also other things. And in Windows, my team is responsible of all the connectivity. So anytime you connect your Windows device to, I don't know, Wi-Fi, to cellular network, to USB, to Bluetooth, to VPN, connectivity to printer, any kind of connectivity on Windows is under responsibility of my team. So I wake up every morning thinking that 1 billion people or devices are connected to Wi-Fi every morning. And if we do something wrong, we affect 1 billion users connected to Wi-Fi, and sometimes puts a little bit of pressure. Just very quickly, in addition to this connectivity, which is more or less 70% of my scope, I do two more things. I'm responsible, my team is responsible of the Universal Print, which is the cloud printing solution of Microsoft to allow enterprises to get rid of the print servers in-house and to go directly through cloud. And last but not least, I'm responsible of a project called Provenance, which is a recent initiative of Microsoft to track the origin and authenticity of digital content like photos, videos, audios, PDF, in order to decrease the possibility of fake news, basically. This is overall my scope.
So now we know who to complain to when we cannot connect to Wi-Fi.
Yes, yes, call me.
We'll put your email address at the end. But
you know, people give for granted things like connecting to Wi-Fi or to print, but it is not granted. There are a lot of there is a lot of technology behind that.
Absolutely. But today we're going to talk about a specific project, and it's brand new and it's very exciting. So tell us about that.
So as evolution of the connectivity in literally 14 days ago on October the 1st, 24, with the latest version of Windows 11 called the 24H2, second semester of 2024. Nothing creative in this name. We launched a new technology that is a standard new Bluetooth technology called Bluetooth Low Energy Audio. Normally it's called LE, low energy, LE audio. Why this is important for this conversation? In general, LE audio enables a lot of new scenarios, new experiences. But the thing I'm mostly proud of is that thanks to this new technology, the Bluetooth LE audio, we were able also to support the latest version of the hearing aids. So in a few words, we are making the lives of the people with hearing impairments better, because now they can connect their next generation of hearing aids devices directly to Windows. This was quite a big problem, which as usual, if you don't have this kind of impediment, you don't realize. But when we started studying about it, we realized there are hundreds of millions of people with hearing impediments around the world. And for them, using a laptop the way the people without that impediment do, it's a problem. It's an everyday problem. Accessing simple things like a video on YouTube or whatever can be a problem. So thanks to this ecosystem of next generation of hearing aids and the new support that we just launched with Windows, we have solved the problem and helped a lot of these people to access easily Windows device with a little bit of. Go ahead, Chris. Sorry.
Giovanni, so you're quite correct, by the way. On the statistics are not very clear, but hearing impairment is the biggest category of I think it's like 380 million people worldwide.
Correct. So we counted the 400 million actually. Yes.
Yeah,
so,
we'll give you 400 million.
Yeah.
And I'll be fascinated because I as people who previously listened to these sessions know, even though I'm blind, I'm suffering hearing loss in my right ear. So I will be trying that when I get the new version up to date. But tell us one important thing about how did you go about testing it? Obviously, you've got a whole wealth of systems in place within Microsoft. But when you're testing it for something like hearing impairment, how did you go about doing that? Did you do extra stuff to test that?
Yeah, this was, again, for me at least, a completely new experience. Because normally when you test features on Windows or on anything, you have a very standardized set of tests from any point of view that you have to do: technical, integration, usability, security, blah, blah, blah. It's a very standard process. But for this kind of devices, for this kind of features, you have to invent literally a completely new way of testing. So in addition to the standard test, you have to select people who can give you the feedback about that. So you have to find people with hearing impediments. At the beginning, I was a little bit lost and say, oh my God, how should we do it? How can we create this panel of people with hearing impediments? And in this, I was very lucky, or I am very lucky to work in Microsoft because there are our employee resource groups in Microsoft that are set of people that are focusing on specific things. We have an employee resource group specific on disabilities. And thanks to this group, we were able to mobilize a set of testers specifically with hearing impediments, of course. So we had to design from scratch a test plan, a set of tests, and then get the feedback and the comment and the refinement from our colleagues. This was the first community who tested them. And after that, we collaborated with hearing aids companies and with communities of people with hearing impediments to extend our testing. It was a very, very touching and exciting experience again, because you have to deal with humans with disabilities instead of machines or automated testing. And we were successful. I'm very, very happy and proud of it.
May I ask a naive question of somebody that does not wear a hearing aid yet?
Monica, one of my teachers at the college told me there is nothing like a naive question. At worst, there is a naive answer. So the pressure is on me now.
But if I have an hearing aid, I mean, I just whatever auditory input where is going to be processed. So what is that you need to have that is special about it. So I guess you kind of optimize it for the hearing aid. I mean,
So
why am I not just kind of jack up the volume or whatever, whatever it is.
No, two things.
So you see, Chris is laughing because obviously this is a naive question.
No, it's not naive at all, and you're right. I should have said at the beginning. Two main things. One, the hearing aids, as you know, are devices extremely small. Because of the fact that they are small, also their battery is very little. So you have to do everything you can in order to decrease the consumption of the battery. This new Bluetooth technology, in fact, it's called low energy audio, Bluetooth LE audio, low energy, allows to cut the consumption of the batteries of the hearing aids by hundreds of times compared to the classic Bluetooth. This is one of the main characteristics. The other characteristic is that the sound is hundreds of times better in terms of clarity, in terms of sensitivity, in terms of volume as well, compared to the classic Bluetooth. One more thing. So the classic Bluetooth allows you to raise or lower your volume in the same way in both of the earrings, while the Bluetooth LE audios gives you the possibility to manage to set your two hearing aids in a different way. So the settings of the hearing aids can be much more precise and can be done by your audiologist to help you. So there are many benefits of these new technologies. Did I answer your question?
Yeah, but actually, this goes along with what we say at Inclusively all the time, is that this is something that benefits the hearing impaired community, but actually benefits everybody. So it's like,
oh yeah, of course.
So
no, of course.
And then also, if I understand it, if you have a hearing aid, there's nothing special that you have to do. You're kind of like automatically benefit from it.
Well, I have to be precise. Of course, also the Bluetooth, the Bluetooth hearing aids needs to support this new technology. That's why I was talking about the next generation. So on both the side, the source, that is the laptop, and the receiver, that is the hearing aids, both of these needs to have the Bluetooth LE audio support. But building up on your question, Monica, you said, yes, of course, there are benefits not only for the people with hearing impairments, but for everyone. Just to give you an example, the stereo rendering in your Bluetooth earphone or headset, it's feasible thanks to this new technology. So we are testing things like when you are in a call like Zoom. Actually, we are testing on our Teams, of course, on our product. Depending on where is the windows of the people that is talking, you have a different movement of the sound or the voice. Or imagine in gaming, when you can hear if someone is shooting you from the back or from the right or from the left. And so yes, there are many applications of this technology, the Bluetooth LE audio.
No, absolutely. That's very interesting. So what is that you hear from, sorry, bad pound here. What is it from the people, from the testers, the hearing impaired?
They are overexcited. They are so happy. They say that the quality of the sound and the possibility to have different settings, the possibility also to exclude the environment noise from what they hear, it's something that it's helping their lives a lot.
Yeah, So is this working on Microsoft applications on Windows, or what level does it come in?
Yeah, of course. Yes, of
I mean,
course, my experience
yeah.
is directly on Windows 11 support. But thanks to the competition, I believe that we are the first on the market, but we believe we will not be the last on the market, because let's remind ourselves, maybe I'm a little bit cynical here, but 400 people with hearing impediments means also 400 consumer. So there is also an economic financial benefit of this.
Yeah, absolutely.
Am I too cynical here, Chris?
No.
No, it's true. And in fact, as you're talking, I'm thinking of you mentioned consuming YouTube video and the like, but actually joining in Teams meetings, Zoom meetings, whatever, is just so important. Yeah. And I think all too often in the last, let's say, 10 years, we focus so much on developing the video side of it that the audio's, it's not been neglected, but it's not been done as well as it could be. And there is, I can tell you, because obviously I can't use video, I don't see the video. I focus so much on the quality of audio. And if this sort of feature improves the quality of the audio coming into me, you pay more attention, right? It's less stressful. You're not straining to catch things all the time. So it's really important. One question I would certainly ask you, in terms of working with the hearing aid manufacturers, yeah. Are they all on board?
Yeah, absolutely. Of course, there are some manufacturers that are way more advanced, and they are investing with us on the Bluetooth LE audio. There are others that are waiting, or fast followers, if you want. So the ecosystem is not completely there yet, but now that we are giving this input, this kickoff, we are seeing how much the ecosystem of the producers are following us. I want also, Chris, to what you just said, that maybe sometimes we undermine the hearing impediments. Helping the people with hearing impediments is addressing two kinds of disabilities. One is people that were born or with physical problem for hearing impediments. But there is another discrimination that we are trying to solve here, which is the aging, because it's absolutely normal that with aging, people start losing or decreasing their hearing abilities. So we are helping also the aging people to keep using in the right way the laptop. So we are addressing two kinds of disabilities, if you want, or two kinds of discrimination.
Yeah, no, it's. I think Monica referred to this earlier on. She doesn't wear hearing aids yet. People's hearing will go. The sight starts to go, and I keep saying to people, the most common asked question I get, being blind, is how do my parents read when they start losing their sight? But the same is true with how do they hear the television? How do they hear what's going on the laptop? So I'd be very interested in whether we see low energy Bluetooth developing in, let's say, in the broad audio visual consumer segment, because that's certainly a massive issue in terms of consuming content, whether it's for pleasure or for work.
Yeah, and I guess that, when I was asking, obviously you're working in Windows, but again, since Windows has such a big market, once it gets established there, it's going to be easier to move to other, kind of environments where you don't have a laptop, you don't have any,
as usual,
like your whatever device you have at home that is not a Windows device.
So Giovanni, are you willing to name names of hearing aid companies that who are first to be connected and using it?
Chris, you are embarrassing me now. There are a set of NDA and legal
of course,
things.
Yeah.
Let me say that when we can talk about names, there will be an official announcement. So
I'm
sorry if
only
I have to
asking.
be if I have to be.
No, that's fine. I'm asking because I have an appointment with my audiologist on Friday.
Okay. So offline,
and
I
if
can tell you something.
okay, tell me offline. Thank you very much. Yeah. And so you said this is a new experience for you, and I think it's great. And part of the message of inclusively is getting all stakeholders in businesses, whether it's telcos or IT or whatever, to at least think about these issues. And I think you're very lucky in Microsoft in you have a very well positioned accessibility group run by Jenny Lay Flurry, and I think Jenny may be hearing impaired actually. I know she's got plenty of people in there who with different disabilities, and it's something we've certainly seen around the industry of encouraging grouping people with different disabilities as a test bed within companies to do that. So, but have you
Sorry if I stop to you here, because we have a great testimonial. In fact, we have worked very closely with them, who is the CEO of Intel. The CEO of Intel is a person with hearing impairments, and in fact, Intel has been one of our best partner in doing this evolution on Bluetooth LE audio, and he presented on the stage this new technology.
Excellent.
We may add the link on in the description if you have it, because that'll be good to see that.
Yes.
But where I was going with that, Giovanni, was to say that you got exposed to this sort of a completely different area, hearing impairment and using Bluetooth and so on, and that your organization is well adjusted in many ways to this inclusion and the things that we've been talking about within Inclusively for the last couple of years. But I know you mentioned in the prelim some other examples of exclusion that you've come across that you wanted to touch upon.
Yeah, exclusion or discrimination, or I don't know how, or unconscious bias maybe. So as you can clearly understand from my name and my accent, I'm Italian, and Italian are not famous to be the best English speakers in the world, and so am I. I'm not an expert, so moving from Italy, well, to be frank, the United States is the 11th country where I've been living and working. Now, coming to United States and start working for big American corporate, of course, it has been my choice, and I'm very happy of this choice. But it comes also with some obstacle, some hurdle, the background, the culture, and so on. But there is one specific that I want to mention. One discrimination that it's absolutely unconscious. There is no one that is doing it on purpose, but that is undermined too much. That is the use of the jargon and acronyms and lingos into the American corporate. When I joined Microsoft, but I had the same experience in my previous companies, so I'm not pointing on Microsoft. It's in general of big, strong organizations. You go into meetings and you realize that 50, 60, 70% of what they say is said, is told with acronyms and language, a form of language that it looks like English, but it's not English. It's the Microsoft spoken English, or it was Accenture spoken English when I worked in Accenture, or it was Ericsson spoken English. And you come from a completely different culture, enterprise culture, corporate culture, and you understand that, or you don't understand, you realize that you lose 70% of what they say in those meetings. And plus, while they talk, you have to go on your laptop and search for these acronyms. What does it mean? Which creates a huge inefficiency in the meetings. And so your learning curve or your ramp up, it's way lower than it should be, because there is this use of acronyms and jargon in the companies, which is also, at the end of the day, if your ramp up is low, it's a problem for you, but it's a problem also for the company because you are less efficient for longer time, actually. So go ahead, Chris. Sorry.
I was going to say, given the different industries and companies you've worked in, are there any? We within telecoms have our own very specific set of acronyms. We have a lot of very similar language. There's a lot of confusion around language. Do you think IT is any worse than telecoms, or are they just as bad as each other?
About the same. I worked 20 years in telecom before coming to IT, so it's about the same. And again, there is nothing, no one to be blamed here. It's just the way it is. However, if you know that there is a new colleague in the room or new colleague in your team, you should put a little bit more attention to this. And now I'm going to say something that will probably be cut or be arrested. It's not about IT or telecom, but I noticed that in US, this is a little bit worse than in other countries. There is less attention to people not talking English. I don't know what is, maybe it's a cultural thing, maybe it's they are less familiar with this, but this is what I noticed. This country is a little bit more difficult from this point of view.
If I might say something here, it's I think that it's an important issue because those are the form. It's not really discrimination in the sense that nobody's doing it on purpose.
Absolutely.
But it does have that effect. And it sort of comes from a fact that I would say that, when I use an acronym personally, it's because it's easier. It's a shorthand. I get used to it. So it's easier for me. So it's because I am shaping my communications to my advantage and saying what's easy for me, I use it instead of thinking of who is that I'm reaching to. So we should just be, so it's kind of like a little bit of a broader issue, I think, that you are raising with the acronyms, is that when we communicate, we should pay attention to who is it we talking to. So for instance, when I write, I don't have an physical audience in front of me, but I more and more ask myself, if I'm using, for instance, like an expression in English that is, say, tied to baseball, a lot of people in the world don't know anything about. I mean, I wouldn't use it because I don't know baseball too. So that's not me.
Me either.
but people do it all the time, right? And the thing is that you should not be using it because this is so culturally based that a lot of people will not understand it or need to go and Google it. And so we should kind of think about it, our audience, whether it's in the room or whoever they are. It's try to reach to them rather than try to make it the job easier for us.
And it's interesting, isn't it, when we now begin to use ChatGPT and my background, my original degree was in computational linguistics, about teaching people to translate French to German, Italian to English, whatever. And you always pick a register. So you choose a register of language that you use. You have one when you're talking to your friends, one when you're talking to colleagues, one when you're talking to customers. We have all these different language. So when we start to get into Gen AI and we start to talk about the tone that you want to choose and the level of interaction you want to choose, all these things have got to be built into that going forward, which is really interesting because I completely agree on the baseball thing. The number of times I'm sitting in meetings and someone mentions the baseball thing and just completely over my head. Obviously I know what baseball is, but I don't reference to players or to the game is complete, which is why, by the way, why I never use cricket analogies, because who else understands cricket? And there's
apart from 1.2 billion of Indians.
Oh, that's true. That's true. Well, and to be honest, Giovanni, for an Indian market, I would probably use, a cricket analogy, but that's about picking your register. In fact, it's interesting. If we go back to one of the first Inclusively, we had Tariq Amin as our guest, who was then at Rakuten, now in Aramco in Saudi. And he went to the US, I think, as a teenager to study. And he said how difficult he found it to assimilate into, school and society coming from the Middle East. So I think there is we use language because it's a we're not assimilating everybody all the time, so we do have to be very careful with language and the way we use it.
And it marks you socially, and so there's not, even if you are from the same country, depending on your web background is. So we need to kind of be aware of that, I guess.
Let me add just one more point on this topic. And now I'm talking in favor of Microsoft. What helps in these cases is how much you can say that you have not understood that acronym. And in Microsoft, there is a very good speak up culture. They tell you from day one that there is no problem in speak up during meetings, during any kind of conversation. So even if the person who just used that acronym is a CVP, is an EVP, there is no problem also for the last fresh college person coming to raise the hand and say, sorry, what does this acronym mean? And I experimented in 5 years that, yes, people stop, apologize, and say, yeah, I meant this thing. And there is nothing wrong in speaking up. So the way to solve or address this kind of discrimination, which of course is not as bad as many other discrimination, but the way to address it is the speak up culture, the possibility for everyone in the room to say, can you please repeat, or I've not understood the acronym, without having a bad influence on your career or your next evaluation.
And that might be the solution, because then if you get people to raise their hand all the time when you speak, you kind of start wondering,
you understand, yes,
maybe I should speak differently, and that kind of folds into that. So,
well, and I think we're often guilty of using language, and I think of it, and you must think of this as well, being Italian. I always think of when I speak English, I can probably find 10 ways to say something. I did French, and I can probably find 3 ways to say it. I did German, I can only ever think of 1 way of saying something. So we're much more flexible in our native tongue than we are in a secondary or third tongue. So yeah, when you've got a very culturally diverse audience, whether they're internal or external, you need to think about them. And this sort of notion of using plain, meaningful language. And interesting, actually, Giovanni, while you were just talking then, it reminded me that when I first started using ChatGPT, I would get it to summarize a document, and I'd listen to it going, I understand all the words that it's just read out, but I don't understand the meaning. And I think that there is a real issue within Gen AI about meaning and the plain language, plain speaking, and getting the message across. And I think we fall into that trap of just using colorful language because we can, and actually we lose sight of the audience that we're trying to address. So yeah, thank you for raising that. It's a really important issue.
It's very important, but our time is up. So Giovanni, thank you so much for sharing your thoughts with us.
My pleasure.
Thank you everybody in the audience for sticking with us today.
Thank you, Monica, for hosting.
Thank you, Monica. Thank you, Chris.
Cheers. Ciao.